Welcome everybody to another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get into this. So the Giants played the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, and boy, was it a slobber knocker, as the JR would say in wrestling. It was a hard fought game, a game where something had to give. Their number one defense against our offense. I said it day in and day out. I called people on it. And I said, hey, listen, I'm not worried about our defense, and maybe we should have been worried about our defense. Because we have Cooper Rush out there. People said Cooper Rush is a bum. People said Cooper Rush not that good. Well, guess what? He was better than our guys this week. Even though our guy played a good game, at the end of the day, it's about a W, according to most. And according to some, wins and losses tell the story, regardless of who it is. Jimmy G comes to mind. Sorry. But yesterday, last night, I saw progress in a team that didn't fold up and take their ball and go home. They fought the entire game. They just met a team that was better than them, and their offense has nobody. You can see what happens when you have a functioning offense, even with Cooper Rush. Like, Cooper Rush did not put the ball in harm's way. Cooper Rush moved the team downfield when they needed to. We laughed at Cooper Rush last week. Many people that I talked to or were on pods with laughed at this team, said, oh, we're going to beat Cooper Rush. And I said to them, don't underestimate that Bengals team. They came out and made the Bengals offense, which came back to life against the Jets. I know it was the Jets, but they came back to life against the Jets. You saw what that offense did. It validated how good the Cowboys defense was and what they needed to do. And they did what they had to do. They had 6 sacks against Joe Burrow. They had 5 against Daniel Jones. I don't want to hear about the Cowboy defense not being good anymore. I don't want to hear about they only have Micah Parsons and everybody else. If you're saying that, you're not really watching the tape. And we know that there were discussions about that. We know that. But if you're going to sit there and tell me a lie, at least make it a fun one. Because all week I've had discussions with people. I said, look, that Cowboy defense is fierce. That Cowboy defense is legit. They are going to come in here looking at the Giants wondering, how come we can't beat them? We just beat the Bengals, who have a better skill set of players right now than the Giants. Facts. Jamar Chase is better than any receiver we got on there. T. Higgins is better than any receiver we got on there. Tyler Boyd is better than any receiver we got on this team. And Joe Mixon is a good, capable back. And they shut that team down to 17 points. Guess how many points we scored? 16. And we had far less talent. Cowboys did what they had to do. They took advantage of our weak offense. Now, I'll give Daniel Jones credit. He had a decent game. Not one of his best games passing, but one of his better games running. His running kept us in the game. Because Saquon Barkley's running didn't do much. Fact. Yes, he had a 35-yard touchdown, which seems to be the case. But teams understand now, like I said before, last week's video, the Panthers made the blueprint on how to beat the Giants. Come in, stop Saquon, and go after and get after the quarterback, and you probably will have success. And that's what they did. That's what the Cowboys did. They did not let Saquon Barkley beat them. They didn't care what Daniel Jones did. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if they let Daniel Jones run around, because for most of the game, they didn't have a spy on him until the end. Even Aikman said it. Aikman's like, well, I think Dan Quinn's going to adjust and put a spy on. And that's what they did. Towards the end of the game, they had Micah Parsons and number 6 spy Daniel Jones. And they played a big game. And you know what was a big play in the game that no one's talking about? Is that missed field goal. That missed field goal, you're playing a different ball game when you get the kickoff. I mean, it's technically would still be 19 to 23. And you still probably have to score a touchdown, but maybe it's a little different in game planning, right? But the Cowboys did what they had to do. Cooper Rush, I don't want to hear about Cooper Rush no more. Because not only did he beat our guy, who again I gave credit to, saying had a decent game, he beat our guy, but he beat this vaunted defense. The defense that everybody told me was going to stop Cooper Rush. The same people who we talked to told me that Cooper Rush is caca. They won't worry about it because our defense is great. Yet I sit here today and say to you, what did our defense do? We had 2 edge rushers, did nothing that game. With Cooper Rush was sitting back there with Reed, his jersey was clean. I don't think he fell to the ground once. Cooper Rush looked calm, cool, and collected back there. He didn't rush nothing. He took what the defense gave him. His offensive line blocked for him. And heck, the running game was what worked well enough for them to do play action pass. They were throwing balls downfield. We can't even throw the ball downfield. 1, because our receivers stink. 2, because we can't get time. And 3, because they're worried about throwing the ball downfield because of turnovers with their quarterback. So those 3 reasons alone do it. We didn't even throw 1 deep pass. Not 1. Again, I don't want to hear about how the Cowboys have 1 player on their defense. That defense got better. And when that player was out of the game, the defense still stepped up. Still stepped up. So if you're sitting there telling people that there's nobody on that defense, you're not watching the film. You're not watching the film. Film don't lie. I said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. That defense is good. And the defense that we're playing on the horizon, they ain't that bad either. Their offense is weak. Again, we said the same thing. Their offense is weak, but you only got to make plays. And you only got to make enough plays more than the offense. Our quarterback was under siege. Hard to function like that. He's in a... Let's get into him real quick but the last point on the defense. Again, if you're going to sit here and make a video about telling people that number 11 ain't got nothing but 2 moves, you ain't watching the film, because he not only made that defense better, but everybody else rose to the occasion. Everybody else. Dan Quinn, respect that coach, because he made our offensive line, which is not that great, look like trash. On both the run game and the pass game. They stacked the box. And guess what the Bears are going to do? They're going to look at the last 2 films, because now we're in week 3. You're starting to get an idea of what the Giants have. They have Saquon Barkley, and that's about it. Stop him, we win the game. Don't turn it over, you win the game. Let your defense get it in for you. Win the game for you. And that's what the Cowboys did. And then their offense stepped up. CeeDee Lamb, who had a drop pass, stepped up. I don't want to hear any more about 2 moves by the Cowboys. It's 1 player, 2 moves. The number 11 not that good. Watch film. You tell people that you sit here, we watch film. The Cowboys defense is legit, and it's going to keep them in a lot of games this year, especially against teams like the Commanders, the Giants, and whatever else schedule they play, because they don't play a hard schedule either. So the Cowboys aren't dead. They're back in the race. They're ready to go, and they're feeling themselves, and they're like, well, we're 1 game behind Philadelphia, and we don't need to worry about them right now. We just need to take care of our business, and we'll be in the dance with Philadelphia or fighting for the division at the end. Because right now, those 2 defenses are legit defenses. Ours is 3rd. We're probably better than the Commanders, but hey, we can't say that yet because we haven't played the Commanders. Even though they look like trash, so did we. So we'll see what happens when we play those teams, but we don't play another division game till November. And I don't want to say this, but hats off to the Cowboys for doing a great job in beating the Giants. The Giants, though, I got to give them credit. Got to give them credit. They hung in there. You can tell this team is better coached than last year. This is what culture is. When you don't give up on plays. When you're fighting to the end. When you're having a brawl at the end of the game because you're frustrated. That's what culture is. That's what building is. But when you win games, that's what makes it contagious. Not running a 3rd and 9 sneak and telling you, hey, whatever. No. You see that the bad players are progressing. But let's get into some things, right? DJ, solid game. Not his greatest game, but with his legs kept us in the game. Passing, he can't do much with the school teachers he has running out there playing, or janitors he has running out there playing. I mean, it's like me off the street. But Kenny Golladay, you got to go. Sorry. Your body language says you don't want to be here. Your play says you don't want to be here. You know, heck, you just don't want to be here. Go home. Sit on, take your ball, get the heck out of here. I don't want to play. I'd rather play other guys. I'd rather take that Pimpleton kid who played for the Detroit Lions and bring him up from the practice squad and sit your $72 million ass down because you did nothing to help your quarterback out. Nothing to help your quarterback out. The whole team let this guy down. Okay, and I'm sure you're going to have a bounce back performance against the Bears, and it'll be good. But our offense has nobody. It has Saquon Barkley and everybody else. That's it. That is it. And it's going to be hard to win games going forward. Hard to win games with lack of talent. Lack of talent. When the defense doesn't have to worry about anybody, like who are they worried about? They know Kenny Galladay's washed. They know you don't have Kadarius Toney on the field. Sterling Shepard unfortunately gets injured. You know, his MO. You know, he didn't do anything in the game either, right? Richie James is your leading receiver. David Sills, I'm still wondering why that guy is on the team. Now, again, your quarterback's under siege, threw for under 200 yards, you know, spread around, did what he did to try to keep you in the game, but still, Cowboys knew they had nothing to worry about. That defense, you played right into that defense's hands. You had no chance. You were a dead man walking. You were DOA, dead on arrival. But then, you look at the defense, and we'll get into them real quick. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. They didn't get to the quarterback. They didn't force any turnovers. They didn't do anything. Cooper Rush looked fine back there. You know what? But we'll throw it there. You know, it's not like the Cowboys were really dominated. The game looks worse than it should be because there's countless Cowboy penalties that cost them the game. Now, granted, the refs were atrocious last night on both sides, atrocious on both sides. And I have Cowboy fans complaining to me about, the refs. The refs cost us too. But you got to move on. The refs cost us too. You got to move on. No sitting here complaining about, the refs. Guess what? They sucked, period. But at the end of the day, you got to go out and play the game. And if we're going to sit here and talk about the refs who suck, by the way, on both sides, it wasn't just one-sided. There were egregious calls all night, missed calls all night. I don't know what they were looking at. I don't know if they were smoking something before this or they just didn't give a damn. But there was horrible call after horrible call, like an offensive pass interference with Sterling Shepard. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like it wasn't, And that cost us a big play. That cost us a big play. And that's been happening to the Giants twice. And they're going to be looking out for that now. So Giants, you may want to figure that out because they're going to be looking for it. 2 games in a row, they called it on you. Heck, it might have been even 3 games in a row. They might have called it. But they're going to call it now. Now they know you do it. So they're going to call it on you now. So you got to figure something out. I know you're trying to get rubs and everything there to make the sight lines easier for Daniel, but you got to come up with something different. But defense, man, you got to get some pass rush. You got to get some turnovers. Okay, they didn't touch Ryan Tannehill. Okay, they didn't touch Ryan Tannehill. The Tennessee Titans botched that game. Okay, but they didn't touch Tannehill. They made Baker Mayfield look bad, but then again, everybody can make Baker Mayfield look bad. And then they had Cooper Rush. So it's not like we played murderer's row of quarterbacks. But the one that we need you to step up the most against is the one that you gave up the most on. Now, Leo Williams, I don't want to hear anything about Leo Williams anymore. That guy is a missing piece. That whole defense changes if Leo Williams in the game. Heck, maybe the game changes with Leo Williams in the game. Stop hating on Leo. He does a lot more of the unseen work that nobody likes to look at. Nobody likes to look at that work. Nobody counts the pressures or the double teams that he takes on. Enough with this Leo hate. But I'm done. On to Chicago. Chicago whether we like it or not, is 2-1 as well. I don't want to hear people say, well, we should win this game. It's a 50-50 game for a reason. A 50-50 game for a reason. This game, the Giants could win this game. This is a game that we all think that they can win. Will they? We'll find out on Sunday. It ain't going to be easy. What I saw last night is it ain't going to be easy to get points. It ain't going to be easy to win these games. And it wasn't the first time either, but man, there's some big defenses coming up in this schedule. This season is not over, but it's far from being a wrap on us winning the division. We got a lot of work to do. And that's not a bad thing to say. We came through. We played hard. The Dallas defense is legit. Don't make videos anymore about the Dallas defense or any other defense unless you know what you're looking at. Because that Dallas defense, for those that thought that it was weak, it got you. It got you. I told you they were saving their season against the Bengals, and that's what they did. And now they're in the race. And buckle up, because it's going to be a race to the end. A race to the end. Eagles are 3-0. Cowboys 2-1. Cowboys are second place. Giants are in third place. And they're holding up the rear as the Commanders. All could change. Got 14 games left. Let's see what the Giants can do. This has been another edition of The Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Have a good one.